And good morning. This is Jay Cleveland Payne with you for things you might have heard for the fourth day, eighth month. That means it's August the 4th, 2025. We have for you 10 stories as we do technically on a Monday because it's 2 extra days to get 2 extra stories into it. And we have a pretty good bevy of stories to get into. With all the things in there, it was a pretty busy weekend, pretty busy Friday, and things carrying over. We are starting off this day talking about we have some Lonnie Anderson news. Of course, that sad passing happened over the weekend. We also will cover cover Anthony Hopkins doing a funny thing that goes back to a playback, and Donald Trump, just Donald Trumping, if you will. Now, we do have Donald Trump and we do have Sydney Sweeney. If you're wondering why she didn't make the cut, I think this Trump-Sydney connection can last a day. So we'll give that to you tomorrow. Right now, other things in the Trump orbit that are more important to get into. I want to remind you that our whole website, I should say, that this is conversationproject.com. Find out more details about how we do these things and why and where going forward. And of course, you can visit our Spotlight sponsor and other sponsors here at the website. Spotlight sponsor today is Ground News. If you could use our affiliate link at Ground News, you get a chance to get 40% off their Advantage plan and give us a small commission, little help to keep things going along the way. Keep the lights on here, if you will. As we said, it is the August the 4th, 2025. Rolling in through this third quarter, almost done with that one. Let's get into the news stories, starting off with a couple Trumpers off the bat. Donald Trump fires the head of labor statistics after a weak jobs report. Now, first, the story was the jobs report, which was revised to have lower jobs creating than we thought. Then President Trump actually dismissed the Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner, her name Erica McArthur, who you didn't know about before, because he didn't like the jobs report showing the 73,000 new jobs lower than expected and substantial downward revision for May and June. Now, Trump accused her of politically manipulating the data to hurt his administration, which he's talking about a person who works in his administration, and called the numbers a scam. The economists, including former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, called Trump's accusations unfounded, noting that the jobs data are produced throughout standardized procedures by large teams. In fact, McAntifer has nothing to do with other than just being in charge of all the people doing the reports. She's not doing any numbers fudging or anything like that. If the numbers are fudged, they are going to be fudged well down along the lines, and other people would actually figure it out beforehand. With that, Republicans are expressing concern, warning that firing could damage the U.S. labor statistics. And of course, the next person in there may be seen as more of a lower list or someone who's just going to follow the line, will make you wonder if the numbers don't fit just because Trump says they are great and they're always great, if they actually are truthful, which many people use these numbers for many things for data-wise. Doing something more bigger, more military, not a real word, Trump moves 2 nuclear subs closer to Russia amid the threats that are happening with Russia that he's kind of egging on. In response to provocations, comments from former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev threatening potential nuclear conflict, President Trump ordered 2 nuclear submarines repositioned to appropriate regions closer to Russian waters. He framed it as a precaution to protect U.S. citizens. Analysts call this move a rhetorical escalation. Essentially, he's having a ex-beef with Dmitry. And so because of that, he's rattling his own sabers. The submarines routinely operate in such readiness postures. Essentially, the job of a submariner is to be ready for these things. So saying we're going to be ready is redundant, but we're going to be ready. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton criticized the action, warning it risked being misread by Moscow as preparation for a real strike. Why would you put a submarine next to Moscow if we're going to strike? The Kremlin urged caution and downplayed the deployment as non-escalatory, noting the nuclear rhetoric increases the risks of both sides tossing nukes at each other. Stop me if you heard this one. Texas Democrats flee the state to block some GOP legislation. They're doing it again. This time, Democratic legislators in Texas are vacating the state to deny Republicans the quorum needed to pass controversial redistricting plans expected to bolster GOP representation in the U.S. House before the 2026 midterms. Texas has this plan to do their redistricting 5 years early before the census, the year before the midterms, so they can possibly get more seats in the House. That's the plan. And the Democrats have left because they can't get the quorum. One Democrat sitting in the place just kind of staring around, looking at stuff, and the rest of them are all over the place, including Illinois. Now, that's a big deal because there was sort of a plot hatched when Governor Pritzker of Illinois was speaking in Kentucky, and some Democrats from Texas were there and said, hey, if this thing happens, can you come up here? And apparently no one's saying it was a done deal or a deal done, but we have a deal doing done right now. The walkout actually reflects growing partisan tensions in state politics and may lead to new political drama in the weeks ahead. In fact, California is like, hey, we can do this too, except I don't think California actually can. There's some laws in place that may keep California from doing the same stunt. We'll see if Texas can pull this off. I think they'll find a way, because right now the governor of Texas is basically going to tell folks that don't show up to work today, their seats will be vacated. No need for a quorum if the seats are vacated. We'll see how that plays out as well. Some good news before we get to some bad news. Blues legend Buddy Guy is celebrating his 89th birthday by releasing a brand new studio album. The release has drawn praise from Guy's enduring vocals and his guitar talents, showing he remains creatively vital and relevant 9 years into his life, 9 decades into his life, 9 years, no, 9 decades. Reviews highlight the album's mix of classic blues with the fresh modern production styles we have today. Fans and critics alike praise Guy's energy and music relevance at an age when most artists are retired. We talked about Ozzy Osbourne performing his last concert before he passed away from his illness. Buddy Guy is kicking it, and he's going to kick it with some fresh new jams this season. So look out for that album coming soon. This one was a kick in the gut for a lot of us. Loni Anderson, the star of WKRP in Cincinnati, former wife of Burt Reynolds, dies days before her 80th birthday. She would have been 80 years old on Tuesday. The actress, best known for being Jennifer Marlowe from the sitcom, passed away before her birthday, and her charm and comedic timing made her a TV icon during the late 70s and early 80s. Her death has prompted an outpouring of tributes from fans and fellow performers, remembering her warmth and talent. She leaves behind a legacy of one of TV's most recognized leading ladies. It seems like a small role, a supporting role on a goofy sitcom that people lovingly remember from literally 50 years ago, but it was a role that was iconic. She was an iconic person in all the magazines and all the posters and all the things. And of course, married to Burt Reynolds, that was a thing as well. And so many people are recognizing her for her talents, her for her philanthropy in these later years, just being out there doing the circuits for those things and just being a very nice person. We need your help for the Conversation Project. Like, share, and subscribe to the work that you're seeing us do so that we get more out there and can get more from it. If you like it, I know I'm doing the right stories, giving the right amount of commentary, the right amount of politicalness, if you will, and the algorithms will also share it more folks so we get more people engaged. If you share it, that means more people can be engaged, because you know people who like this stuff directly. If you're not getting this directly into your feed, subscribe so you get those numbers for us, and you get us directly every single morning, every single day. We produce something essentially every single day news-wise. If it's this thing here with the shorter versions or the hot takes going forward, we give you something every day to get engaged with and do more conversational stuff. So like, share, and subscribe to get yourself into our News Nerd Nation. Natural disasters, animal stories, the next 3 stories are kind of out there, but we're going to get them to you and save you some Sydney Sweeney for tomorrow. First off, this big story, a lot of New Jersey stuff. A boat crashed in New Jersey Bay, resulting in the death of a whale and injured one passenger who went overboard in the boat. Emergency responders recovered both the passengers both the passenger who is being treated for serious injuries and the whale. Officials are investigating the circumstances of the crash, including speed and visibility conditions. This has actually raised concerns about safety and wildlife protection in local waterways. This is not something that is normally going to happen in a situation like this, but this is something that they are looking into right now. Also in New Jersey, plus some New York, earthquake rattles parts of the area, centering around Bergen County, New Jersey specifically. Early Monday morning, 4.2 earthquake struck Bergen County, felt by residents across parts of New Jersey, New York. No injuries or major damage were reported, but the tremor startled many people awake to deal with this one. Geologists noted that the quake is part of a pattern of minor seismic activity in the region. Authorities continue to monitor possible aftershocks. Monday is the wrong day because ChatGPT basically screwed up the script. But this is over the weekend where New Jersey had an earthquake, and there were memes, there were jokes, a lot of Chris Christie thrown in there about the earthquake happening over the weekend in Bergen County, New Jersey. Not Monday, a few days back. Today is Monday. This one also became a rage over the weekend as Russia's Kamchatka region, a long dormant volcano, erupted there for the first time in like 100 years, following a major local earthquake there. We heard about the earthquake in Russia and the typhoons from last week. Now the volcanoes are erupting. The eruption produced plumes of lava flows and prompted evacuations in nearby areas. Scientists are monitoring the volcano for continued activity, evaluating potential hazards to local communities and aviation. We know that happened many years back where the big volcano was going to Iceland, and it basically kept flights from going for a while. As a WWE fan, it was one of the weird things where the volcano was so bad that there was a European leg of a tour for WWE, which canceled all flights. So all the folks that were left back home had to basically do triple duty and do all the shows for a couple of days because their people could not get out of Europe. This is another case where if something gets that serious, we could see something like that. We're wrapping up with things less serious, more fun, and this is definitely a fun one. The nostalgia of many movies coming back to the theaters is happening next, or 2 years from now, where Star Wars: A New Hope, though originally Star Wars, is returning to theaters for its 50th anniversary in 2027. Yes, you are that old. You are that decrepit. Star Wars, the original of the original trilogy, is 50 years old in 2 years. And marking the anniversary, it'll be back in cinemas globally. Limited theatrical release celebrates the landmark sci-fi history and offers fans a chance to experience the original adventure on the big screen one more time. The announcement generating excitement among longtime fans and new moviegoers alike so that the young kids can see the old movie on the big screen. Not sure if it'll be the enhanced version, the one that put Jabba the Hutt as the human or Jabba the Hutt as the Jabba the Hutt, but we will see big old Star Wars back on the big screen in 2 years. Finally, a bit of levity and a throwback to the 80s, if you will, as Anthony Hopkins invites Kim Kardashian over to dinner while wearing one of her Skims in the note. The actor made headlines portraying social media with a bit of a giggle to reality star Kim Kardashian with a dinner announcement, dinner engagement, if you will, styled with her Skims brand. Now, the post features Hopkins wearing Skims-inspired attire, drawing both surprise and amusement online, as you can see from this picture, because he looks a lot like Hannibal Lecter, the actor or the character he played in The Silence of the Lambs, with the Skims on. The whimsical offer sparked wide conversation and memes, and bad, speaking, I guess, blending Hollywood charm with pop culture crossover vibes. We talked about the Skims as being the thing that people are kind of giggling about, like, what the hell, a body shaper for your face? It's a body shaper for your face. Kim Kardashian knows how to sell stuff. She's selling plenty of them, including one apparently to Anthony Hopkins, who's having a little bit of fun with all of us because of it. Let's talk very quickly about our spotlight sponsor, which is going to be Ground News. Ground News at our website. This is theconversationproject.com/ground news, where you can see all the news that you're missing and see all the news that you're getting and compare it side by side to each other. And this is how you can get a real feel for what's going on in your news coverage, what's happening out there. It's very simple. You go to Ground News, you look for an article, type in a headline, the story you're looking for, and you'll see that headline from all the sources that you're used to and all the sources that you're not used to. And that is all based off of who your actual news sources happen to be, who you pull your news from. It's pretty interesting. If you're a Fox News lover, you'll see more MSNBC. And if you're an MSNBC lover, you'll see more Fox News side by side. You'll see the headlines. You'll see some of the details. You can tell how the story is being played off by both sides. And if you want to take a real thrill, check out their blind spot feature, which shows you exactly what stories are being overly done by the right and overly done by the left. So you see what stories are left in your blind spot, as you will. I said blind side, blind spot. This is a great tool for you to use. It's on your phone. It's on your website. It's they send you newsletters here or there as things to look for. And if you're a person who really wants to get into the real news, as in what really is being going on, you can see what sources are behind what stories and what they're pushing out there and who's behind the sources, if you will. Check it out by using our affiliate link. This is the conversationproject.com/ground news, and you can get 40% off their plans for news. And that means big news coverage for less than $10 a month. Real big news coverage from all the sources. See how they're all playing it for less than $10 a month. Check it out at this is a conversationproject.com/ground news. Check out our website for more sponsors as well. And you can also check out our website to consider being a partner with us as well. But Ground News is a website. It's a service that keeps us legal, if you will, keeps us on track, make sure that we're doing the right stories, and you as well, as you look and see what news is really reality and what news is a little bit more, let's just call it fantastical or hyperbolic, if you will. That wraps up this edition of Things You Might Have Heard for this Monday, August the 4th, 2025. I think all these things are things you probably had in passing. We call ourselves a tertiary news source because we shouldn't be your first, and your second is probably a stretch. We like to throw in a lot of stories out there that are definitely not being overly played out in the mainstream media. So you get that in there. You might hit a hit here or there. These are stories that I hear, like maybe a small hit on a radio hit or something like that here or there. And then I go looking for deeper details that are usually more interesting and usually more engaging than sort of all the Trump stuff. There's a lot of Trump stuff. So he overtakes things because he does. We'll talk Trump and Sydney Sweeney tomorrow, I promise. But it is how it goes. So we thank you all for being a part of what we do here, and seemingly to enjoy how we're doing it now. You seem to like the pithier stuff, the quicker stuff, the easier stuff. I wish I could do more commentary, but we'll do that in the hot takes, and we will keep on going. So for this Monday edition, I thank you. I love you. We'll see you tomorrow for Tuesday edition.